Hey y'all, I'm here to tell you about a weight loss strategy that is a game changer. It's called intermittent fasting. Now, I don't know about you, but it really does help me when I'm trying to stick to a plan or a lifestyle change. If I can understand exactly what is going on behind the scenes. And so that's what we're going to talk about today with intermittent fasting. In case you don't already know anything about intermittent fasting, it is not a diet, but it's a timing thing. The concept is simple. You have a window of time for fasting and a window of time for feasting. You get to choose whatever you want those windows to be. When I first discovered intermittent fasting, I didn't really understand how just eating and not eating at certain times would make any difference in my weight, right? I thought to myself, well, I guess maybe it works because it ultimately restricts your calories. I was used to that whole, calories in, calories out type of thing. And also working out like a crazy person, running and all of that thing. That was what I thought worked for weight loss. So I was really curious to find out how this intermittent fasting thing really works. So as a lot of us do these days, I hopped on YouTube and started searching. Now, before I fill you in, be sure to keep watching until the end of the video, because that's when I'm going to share my results after 10 weeks of using Steph's system, which includes intermittent fasting as pillar number 1. So let's get into it. Intermittent fasting works like this. So you just finished eating, say it was your dinner. As soon as you finish eating, your blood sugar level rises. Your body starts the digestion process immediately after food intake. Ingested carbs are being processed and released into your bloodstream as glucose or sugar. So your blood level rises and your body starts producing insulin. Insulin is a hormone that has 2 important functions, but the one we are going to focus on is that it stores energy. Usually the body does not need all of the energy that's being released because of over-consuming carbs or sugar, eating too many carbs, too much sugar. And because of that, insulin stimulates the conversion of glucose, sugar, into its storage form, which is called glycogen. The glycogen is stored in your liver and muscles only to be released when energy is needed again. Once the glycogen stores are full, the excess glycogen is stored as, guess what? Fat. So then 3 hours after your last meal, your blood sugar level drops. That's when insulin transports the glucose in our blood to our cells and tissues. As a result, the level of glucose in the blood drops and the blood sugar level drops again. During this time, and as long as glucose is in our blood and glycogen in our muscles or liver, fat is not going to be used as the primary energy source, which means no fat is being burned. Our body only switches to energy production from fat or fat burning once the glucose in our blood has been depleted and the glycogen reserves are used up. So then 9 hours after your last meal, your blood sugar level starts to settle down. After the food has been digested and our body has stopped producing insulin, there is a brief resting period, but it doesn't last long because our organs and muscles and brain are continuously consuming energy. A new player enters the field of hormones called glucagon. As soon as our blood levels drop, the body has to react. Glucagon's task is to release the previously stored glycogen back into the bloodstream, and does that so that our blood sugar and level remains constant and energy supply is ensured. So then 11 hours after your last meal, and this is, remember, as long as you're still fasting, it's been now 11 hours. So once you've done all of that fasting, 11 hours, your body, that's when fat burning starts. Now it's time to fall back on the larger resource, your fat reserves. Fun fact, the average calorie supply of an adult person in the form of fat reserves is about 80,000 calories. That means it could take a long time before we really are in like a real starvation mode, right? So this is why we are not starving ourselves while we are intermittent fasting. So now 14 to 16 hours after your last meal is when ketosis comes into play. After the fat burning hormones have started working, something interesting happens. Ketones are produced in the liver as a byproduct of fat burning. This process begins 14 to 16 hours after your last meal and increases in intensity depending on how long you fast. Ketones are fatty acid molecules that are formed when fat cells are broken down. They are known to provide energy to the heart, to the brain, and to vital organs. Now we're finally at one of the last things that happens, which is called autophagy. Autophagy is a process that's kick-started by a longer fast and fat burning. Autophagy comes into play after about 16 hours of fasting. Autophagy is translated from a Greek word that I can't pronounce, not even going to try, that means to consume oneself. During autophagy, your cells actually begin to process themselves, and old cell components and proteins are recycled during this phase. Not only are they recycled, but they are completely renewed. This has been scientifically proven. Now, if that plus the weight loss benefit doesn't make you want to start intermittent fasting right now, then I don't know what will. In addition to that, so you got the autophagy and weight loss, the reason why we're here. Now there are even more scientifically proven benefits from intermittent fasting. And I just want to give you some of those so that when you're intermittent fasting and you get hungry, then you can think about the good things. Now, I already mentioned in the previous video that when you get hungry, that you can you can drink your water, of course, but then you can reframe your mindset to think about hungry being the place where good stuff happens. Hungry is where good stuff happens, the fat burning, the autophagy. But okay, I'm rambling. So let me get back to the metabolic, to the additional benefits, which are metabolic benefits, including improved blood sugar control, reduced risk of type 2 diabetes, and lowered cholesterol levels. In addition to that, some other benefits are, and this is big for me, simplified meal planning and less time spent cooking. Why is that? Because you're only eating 1 or maybe 2 meals as opposed to 3 and 4 and who knows how many meals you were eating before, but it just makes it simpler. Improved digestion and gut health, also improved brain health, and as we talked about before with the autophagy, potential longevity benefits. It is important to try and maintain a balanced and nutritious diet during your feasting periods. Not just saying, okay, my fasting window is over, now I can just eat a bunch of junk. And even if we're not eating junk, just, trying to make sure we're getting a balance in our diets. So I just want to leave you with some tips for intermittent fasting or while you're on your weight loss journey. Tip number 1 is to start slow. If you need to, don't try to jump right in with a 20-hour fast, because you heard me say that I do 20-hour fast during the week. Start out with the 16-8 method first, which is, fasting for 16 hours, a 16-hour window, and having an 8-hour eating window. That's what I did in the beginning, and it really worked. I think I spent maybe 6 months doing it with 16 and 8, and I still lost weight. Tip number 2. When that hunger kicks in, as I stated previously, and it will kick in, believe me, make sure you drink your water, at least 64 ounces. You can also drink unsweetened tea, any kind of flavor, just no sugar, no artificial sweeteners, none of that stuff. You can also drink black coffee, no sugar and no cream, nothing. It has to be black because we don't want anything that's going to spike your insulin and make your blood sugar levels go up. So after you've done all of those things, then remember, hungry is where the good stuff happens. Mindset. Now that you know exactly what's going on behind the scenes during each stage of your fast, it will also help with your mindset. At least it helped with my mindset. when I knew exactly what was going on at each stage of my fast. Tip number 3, last one, is be flexible. Don't beat yourself up if you have to change your fasting time. Like today, and I decided to cut it to a 16 and 8 fast today, which is normally what I do on the weekends anyway. So you got to be flexible with yourself. Give yourself some grace. And while you're doing that, remember to use the Fastic app to help you track your fasting times. And then you can easily change from 16 and 8 to a 20 and 4, however you need to change it without having to count on your fingers. And the Fastic app really helps. And remember also that if something happens, you just get back up and keep going, keep moving forward. Now, as promised, here are my results after 10 weeks of intermittent fasting on Steph's system. September 11th, I weighed 158.2 pounds. October 2nd, I was 149.8. On October 23rd, I was 143.4. On November 16th, I was 138. Down 20 pounds in 10 weeks. Was that 2.5 months? Yes. I hope I have inspired you to explore intermittent fasting along with the rest of my system, Steph system, because it has, I keep doing it, because it has really worked for me, and I believe that it can work for you too. So maybe you're into the more sciencey information about intermittent fasting. I got into some of it, but there's more. And if you want to know more, I recommend you check out Dr. Jason Fung's video here. And he has a lot more videos. They're very informative, and he explains things in a very simple way that even I could understand. So he got you if you need to know some other, if you want, if you're curious to know any more about that. Now, intermittent fasting is only one of the strategies or pillars in Steph's system for weight loss. So to find out about the other 3, click on this video here. And be on the lookout for my next video where I will be doing one of my favorite things, cooking some amazing low-carb, keto-inspired food for weight loss and sharing the recipes with you. See you in the next video.